Yeah, we dig through the ditches and we burn through the witches, and I slam in the back of my Dracula. Dig through the ditches and we burn through the witches, and I slam in the back of my Dracula.
Greg, welcome back. Episode 3, we did 3.
Did 3. The trifecta.
The trifecta. We absolutely did the trifecta. I'm peeking on my mic right quick. I'm going to be the first to congratulate you. We hit a milestone. A pretty big milestone.
What was the milestone?
So I've started uploading these to the public. Some people have been listening. And our YouTube channel has 5 subscribers.
Hot damn. It's 5 more subscribers than I ever thought I'd have in my life.
Right? I'm one of them from my other channel.
I guess I should jump on that.
Yeah, you should do that so we have 6. Well, that would make 4 subscribers. No, we have 5. I shouldn't have even said that. And another milestone has been passed. Our Rob Zombie video has 100 views.
Oh, hell yeah. The centennial.
How's it feel?
Well, that's a weird feeling to imagine 100 people spending any amount of time listening to us talk about Rob Zombie.
I did not listen to it 100 times or 50 or something. That's a real number. I was just in Florida at my buddy's place, and he brought it up. So at least one person, 2 people have reached out. So 2 of the 100 have actively said, I listened to it. And
all right.
So, I mean,
2% of our listener base.
It's there, man. So yeah, we're just gonna chug this thing along. We're supposed to be doing Roadhouse Part 2. It's been a hot minute.
The eagerly anticipated, no doubt.
I have all my notes and stuff. I forgot where we left off. All right. We
left off by abruptly leaving to see Godspeed.
Yeah. What did you think of Godspeed You Black Emperor?
Oh, that was fucking hypnotic. It was like, that was cool. It felt like it lasted 20 minutes. And I know we were there for like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was real cool. That film that they do that you were telling me about beforehand. All that, like, that stuff they did.
Yeah, because if you haven't seen any things of Godspeed You Black Emperor, they run 2 film projectors next to each other out back into the crowd. And so during the whole show, just to set up, Godspeed You Black Emperor is a post-rock band. So it's like instrumental music, but it's really intense.
It's fucking vibe.
It's a vibe. It's like sad, yet powerful, yet... I don't know. How would you describe it?
There are definitely, peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys.
That shit builds, man.
It's just like, peaks and valleys. And it gets loud and like, it's like 3 guitar players.
Some tension, yeah.
Yeah. And it's overtly political, even though an instrumental band doesn't seem that way. And then they run 2 film projectors behind this band. Most of them are like sitting down. All the guitar players are. They're in like a half circle.
Not that we would have known.
I know. The venue was weird for this. It was kind of cool because it was like, I don't know. Usually when I've seen them before, they've been in like sit down theaters and stuff in like really big spaces.
Yeah, I imagine that would be real cool.
But this was like at a noisy Austin venue, like in an alley.
Yeah, just outside on some pavement.
Which was cool. It was cool. I mean, it was cooler for me because I haven't seen him in that setting. For showing someone for the first time, I wish it would have been something where you could. I mean, you're tall, you could kind of see, but not as cool.
It was. I had a good time.
Yeah, and the crowd was like. It wasn't a ton of young people. It was like goth people, metal people, post-rock kids.
Post-rock kids. I feel like there were a fair amount of well-represented groups.
Yeah, most people wearing black, except for Halloween costume. There were random like sorority girls with like flashy devil horns and stuff.
There was that. There's that dude in the Mugatu costume. That was sick.
Yeah, his costume was the best. I forgot about that. Yeah, there were like a couple fratty kind of guys, but like for the most part, it wasn't. I don't know. It's just a random thing. But yeah, we did that.
We did do that.
And then I got sick before we went and saw the OCs.
God, that OC show was fucking sick.
Was it amazing?
It was so cool. It's been a long time since I just been that like engrossed by something where I was just watching. I was mostly just watching the drummers just the whole time and like no thoughts aside from what was happening on the stage. Just,
right.
like fully engrossed by them, and that was cool because I feel like I've just been having trouble like focusing on things lately, even like stuff I like, and I got there and they just got into it and I was like, this I am fully present for.
Because are they still running as a 4-piece, 2 drummers, bass, guitar?
There was 2 drummers, there's 5 of them I get. Wait,
Was someone like a clinch hitter, like playing keys every now and then?
yeah
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was in the back being mysterious
And then playing like a shaker or something
Yeah.
every now and then. Yeah, because all the stuff they play, since I've seen them a couple times, they always speed it up too.
Yeah, dude, they went fucking hard. People were losing it. It was sick.
They always, I don't know, John Dwyer, the dude who leads it, is is incredible, and he has like a record label, Castle Face, that he like.
I just can't believe that man's output.
I can't believe he does that because they play so many shows. And
Also,
he's
yeah,
like
that was like the
50 or
4th
something.
night. Like we went to see him
Just in Austin.
just in Austin. Yeah, and like the energy was there.
He's like an OG road dog of like, I don't know. It's like that grassroots punk aesthetic, not aesthetic, but ethos
Yeah.
of just hit the road. And it's like, you're in Austin for 10 people. The next year they bring a friend, there's 20 people.
Yeah.
The next year they bring a friend, there's 40. And then, because the OCs have been around for so long.
Yeah, and that was I was surprised. Like Greg hadn't seen him, and
Oh,
I guess he
really?
hadn't really listened to him either, because he'd always like heard about him, heard it was a good show, and he just kind of figured he'd get to one eventually. And then since you couldn't make it, I ended up giving him your ticket, and he fucking loved it too.
Yeah, how was he about it?
What's that?
He was all about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he was real into it. He had a good time. I think he got a T-shirt.
Nice. That's, if I could put together like a sick band here, 2 drummers, bass, guitar. I played in a band one time with 2 drummers.
It was so cool watching them just like fully synced up. Just
It's hard for the drummers, but once it's synced, because normally when you play in like a 3-piece, if it's a guitar, bass, drum outfit, which I've played in a lot of them, the guitar generally leads everybody kind of like through the song forms and stuff. And like, if you take a solo, then you kind of nod and people come. And
right.
everyone's reacting to each other, and you got to fill space because there's not a lot of instruments. But because of that reaction thing, you need someone to, usually the guitar, to just kind of keep it moving a little bit. With 2 drummers, it's the drummers. Like, it can go,
I mean, yeah, they were center stage. Just
it's like a train. Like, if it gets off the rails, the guitar and bass have nothing to do with it. Like that big thing, and you're so by the seat of your pants that it's like a high wire act every night. It's like nerve wracking.
I would imagine, yeah.
I don't know. It's something so fun about that, because I mean that's what like the Allman Brothers did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they always had 2 drummers. Melvins do that,
Right.
and I mean that's the same thing as the OCs, just like turn way. Grateful Dead do that. They do it with 2 drummers now, but they're slow as fuck because they're old.
Age catching up. It happens.
Still the tightrope. Well, that's sick.
Yeah, that was a good weekend.
Yeah, what else do you do?
Well, I saw Jesus and Mary Chain and Proto Martyr the night before. We saw Godspeed. That was cool too.
Sick.
Yeah. I don't know what else. That OC show just fucking blew me away.
Blew you away.
Yeah. It was great because it wasn't really. I mean, the crowd was there, but like the back of Hotel Vegas just isn't that big. Like we were pretty close to the stage.
Yeah.
We were just like, it was like us and then like one layer of people and then the pit and like people just going nuts. I've never seen so many people crowd surf in my life. Just constantly. It was amazing.
Dwyer like eats the mic.
Oh yeah. He was swallowing that thing whole.
I love how he plays his guitar super high too. Just against all of it, man.
Just the whole thing. His mom haircut.
Yeah, he always has a mom haircut. There's this comedian named Sam Talent who's awesome. That he was like in the punk scene and all that scene before he became a comedian. And he was talking about, I heard him on something talking about OCs and Dwyer and stuff. Because someone had mentioned, it's like, it's super cool you're part of that. And he's like, yeah, but like you're around John Dwyer. It's like, dude, calm the fuck down. Like, you don't have to be this cool.
Yeah.
Like, let other people talk and be cool.
Just now and then, you know, share the wealth.
Just share it a little bit, man. That's cool. I went to a wedding in Margaritaville.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool. Wedding was awesome. No stories from there. But Margaritaville itself, you know, maybe this is Roadhouse Part 2 Margaritaville edition. Because we stayed in, so there's like, you fly into Orlando's airport. You have to take about a 30-minute Uber out. Or you catch a bus. I didn't catch the bus. And it's like a little town. So it's, you come into the little gate. There's a Margaritaville resort on the hill.
Oh wait, I did not realize.
Oh,
when
yeah,
you were
yeah,
talking about Margaritaville wedding, I didn't put a lot of thought into what she meant. I didn't think it was a literal Margaritaville though.
It's Margaritaville on the hotel. And all around it are little cottages in like pastel colors. Like it looks like Key West.
Yeah.
That you can rent or people live in. Like retirees.
Full time.
Full time.
You can retire to Margaritaville.
Yeah.
It's
And
the dream.
It was just as much money to stay in the hotel than it was to get a 1-bedroom, 1-bath cottage amongst the little town. And guess where I stayed?
Did you stay in the hotel?
No, I stayed in the
Oh,
town.
fucking A. Good. All right. Whew.
There was a clock in there because it was decked out in like Jimmy Buffett swag. Like there was a surfboard with like a bite out of it, which is the best. There was a Margaritaville margarita machine, but they didn't give me any of that shit to make
supply
margaritas.
you?
No. Well, somebody left like really top shelf tequila, like
Nice.
in a cabinet that me and my buddy Matt found.
How are you gonna render that frozen concoction?
I know, that's what we were like, what the fuck? And there was a clock in there that all of the digits around it were 5.
Thank God. It's always 5 o'clock in Margaritaville.
5 o'clock somewhere.
So start drinking.
Dude, yeah, that was like everyone was drunk the whole time. And I'm not even talking about the wedding party. Like you just walk around. There's like roads around it. The house was on Key Lime Pie Drive. Just the best thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
There's a lot of golf carts in the mix.
There's a golf cart track next to the road everywhere.
Okay, yeah.
So they're not on the main road. And
No
so
bike paths, just golf cart
tracks that are big enough for 2 lanes. And so it's golf carts and those little 4-seat pedal bikes where everyone pedals and they have goofy like umbrella on top.
I haven't thought about those in forever.
They're everywhere. That's how you get around this place. People on those bikes and the golf carts are lit the fuck up. Like everyone's drinking margaritas at all hours.
Is that the only beverage allowed?
Or Jimmy Buffett has his own beer called Land Shark. So
Okay, Land Shark and margaritas.
But you go, it's brilliant. Because in the town, too, there's little restaurants and shit that aren't, I think there was like an actual Margaritaville like restaurant there, too.
Mm.
But like I ate at this like Ford-themed bar that was, I don't know why, but it was like an old garage and like your napkins were like dirty towel, like
Just greased up.
everything has a theme. That's what I'm getting at. And they have a bunch of shit, but their like on tap beer was Land Shark. So Jimmy Buffett gets the money coming out of all these places because his shit's in all of them.
What a businessman.
It was something else. I
want to be back there.
I didn't hate it. The older
Did it feel good?
it kind of did. I think you would kind of like it too. I don't know. What do you think about resort living?
I've never been.
Yeah, have you been to anything like that?
No.
I'm trying to think the closest thing that would be here. It's kind of a Florida, I like the Bahamas and shit. Like,
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, I don't know, just like when I was living on the island,
mm-hmm.
and that was a lot of just like, all right, it's 5:00, it's getting dark. My girlfriend's in med school and she's busy, so I guess I'll go to the bar.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, everyone that lives there full time just hangs out at the bars because like there's not really much else to do, especially at night. It's just like dark and no one really drives. People do drive, people have cars, but you don't need to.
What island were you on again?
St. Martin.
That's right. How long were you on St. Martin?
About a year.
Dang, I want to go to St. Martin for a year.
And we should go. Greg was, I don't know if he's still planning on doing this, but I guess Dr. Bob really loved it down there.
Mm-hmm.
And Greg was talking about like spreading his ashes down in St. Martin.
Wait, can we all go?
We should boys trip.
Dude, boys trip. We cut a pod down there.
Hell yeah.
Dude, my buddy Matt, that's another story. He does all the music for Legoland.
Yeah.
I visited him, but not to cut your story off, but I think he lived on St. Martin too. He moved down there right before the hurricane and lived there for about a year. Worked at a Margaritaville there.
There's a Margaritaville down. Oh
yes.
My God. That's weird. That's a hat on top of a hat.
I know. That's why it's rushing back to me. I'd forgotten all about this because he got it. Do you soca music? Did you listen to soca music there? That really upbeat kind of island, like. It's not like tradition. It's
not really, honestly. Like, I feel like the bars were kind of geared towards Americans more, and just the like home away from home sort of way. But there wasn't like they weren't like island culture.
Is St. Thomas bigger than St. Martin?
My Caribbean geography is not the best.
It was one of those. He might have been on the bigger one, so they had a Margaritaville. But yeah, even then, like, it's just geared towards tourists and stuff, right? Kinda.
Yeah, really. Like the island's half Dutch and half French, and we were on the Dutch side, and it was really just like a lot. The med school is there, so it's a lot of students, and like the neighborhood we were in was just a few apartment buildings that mostly the med students lived in, like some retirees, and there's like a little road that went past a school, some kind of like international school. And then there were the two bars, the convenience store that I bought all my cheap ass cigarettes and booze at, the inexplicable Kentucky rum that was like $4 for a liter. But it didn't really even feel like leaving the country, honestly, just because you're still surrounded like by Americans, everything. I used American money while I was down there. You don't even have to like exchange.
Really? Yeah. You're just everyone's on the same page basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, definitely met some interesting people down there. It's just the other regulars at the bar. It's a place it's called BB's that we would hang out at. The bartender, whose name turned out not to be BB, even though everyone referred to him as BB.
What was it?
Oh, it was something weird, like I was going to say Balthazar, but that's not right.
That would rule, though.
It was like some kind of German name, but he was from Aruba. I don't know how we ended up on BB, but he had like BB juice that he would make, and which was just like jungle juice, essentially. Just fucking these med students up. And like once in a while he would make food, and I just remember eating like chicken out of a plastic cup while I was there one night, just with this weird assortment of people. And there's a guy from South Africa named Dion who did salvage work down there and like offered me a job at one point, but we were we were like hammered, and he was like, yeah, just meet me at like 5 a.m. tomorrow. I was like, oh, okay, sounds good, whatever. Didn't happen. I saw him again like a couple nights later, and he was just like, oh yeah, we'll figure it out. And then that was the night this woman wandered into the bar, just looking, seen better days, super thin, just like kind of leathery, older,
too much.
And like Dion kind of starts chatting her up, and
Dion.
I know. I went home, came back the next night.
Did she work salvage with him the next day?
She didn't. Well, I got there and we're talking, and he's looking weird, and I'm like, "What's up, man?" And he just looks at me and goes, "I did a bad thing. I fucked a granny last night."
Oh God!
And I was just thinking about that woman. I was like, "Oh, buddy, it's yeah." But you know,
it's island life.
It's
when you're on
island
life, you eat BB drinks and
fuck a
sit
granny
with your BBG,
now and
your
then.
baby girl. Fuck grannies.
Yeah, great guy.
You should reach back out.
I don't even know how I would find him, honestly.
We go back and just scream his name. Go back
See
to
if
the
he's
bar.
still there. I am really
gotta be dead by
curious
now, right?
to see. God, I hope not.
All those people are dead.
There's some I would be like shocked if they were still like remotely functional, just based on the amount that were drinking every night and like what we were doing with our lives.
Yeah. Yeah, once you like click into that at a certain age, that's kind of it until something goes catastrophically wrong in your body.
That was me.
Summed up great.
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted. It was weird while it lasted, but
Hey, you've got the stories.
yeah, had some interesting nights.
That's what like is Margaritaville. You see like just going to the bar at noon with like the wedding party where we're just, let's get some drinks or whatever. And it's a mix of those us, people for weddings and people for this and vacations. That's fine. Drink of the day. Who cares? And then there's like the people who live there. And it's
noon. It's 5 o'clock. I mean,
but it's like a ritual. Like
yeah, that's something like that kind of more casual everyday drinking where it's not exactly problematic. Because actually, I went to see the Banshees of Inisherin last Friday, which that was real good. Martin McDonough coming through.
Really?
But one of the things, so it takes place on this little island. It's in this little island community, and basically, like Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson are best friends, and they essentially the movie's about them going through a real nasty breakup. But like Colin Farrell, he's like, I'm done doing my sheep things for the day. I'm done milking. I'm gonna go down to Brendan's, and then they would just go to the pub, and it's like 2 p.m. and that's just what they do every day.
Yeah.
And it's just what you do. Like you go, you get your buddy, and then go hang out.
Yeah.
At the pub.
I mean, that's fine. Not hating is day drinking. I'm sure you would not. I mean,
I had never once hated on day drinking.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Sometimes
some people space it out throughout their entire lives. Some people love it a lot.
Yeah.
But the difference between get your buddy, getting a job well done, going to the pub when it's that kind of thing. But these guys were like couples that had always. I'm just projecting a bunch of shit I was thinking.
These are the full-timers you're talking about?
People that work their whole lives in the back of their head, knowing that their roofing company would pay out. And damn it, when I sell it, I can get a Corvette and we can move out to Margaritaville. 65, 66 happens, rolls by. Dream comes true. Get a little money, get a little retirement. Kids are gone. Everything's set. Honey, we're going to get a 4-bedroom even though it's the two of us. Margaritaville, Orlando, which I
nice
think
to have
the town might
options.
even be called something that's Jimmy Buffett themed. It was like,
I hope so.
me too.
I mean,
And then that first couple months where it's Tuesday and it's like, dude, let's just go to the bar.
yeah.
You know, and it's just like, we can do whatever we want. We bought the golf cart. It's got the wheels.
It's like the first time your parents leave you alone in the house.
Yeah. Or like the first time you can drive your car. It's like
The freedom, yeah.
the freedom.
Just no responsibilities.
Year goes by. 2 years go by. Kids aren't calling as much. You're sitting in your bright pink house
It's getting dark.
with a fucking clock on the wall that has fives all over it.
Slowly losing your mind.
And you look at the surfboard with the hunk of shark that the shark bit off of it. And you think
Wondering
about
what that-
hitting your husband with it and thinking, I can claim abuse. And I defended myself. Or it's noon on a Wednesday. We can go to the bar.
Decisions, huh?
Yeah. I don't know. There's something I like about that.
That prospect, the possibilities.
It was the villages, but it was like tropical. Wait, what's that movie? It's not a movie. It's like a Blacklist episode where they're in like a perfect suburb or something. And people start figuring it out.
I feel like there's honestly a few
That's
things.
kind of a trope that's in
Yeah.
a lot of things. It feels like that, but you're just drunk all the time.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it makes it tolerable, I guess.
At least a little bit. Yeah. It's like Belinda Carlisle said, heaven is a place on earth.
Heaven is a place on earth.
And that place might be Margaritaville, where time doesn't exist. And the land shark flows freely.
The land shark flows freely. Time, family, space, politics, minorities. Oh, no black people. No black people.
Not a big black population in Margaritaville. Who'd have thought?
I wonder if there's Margaritaville police.
I was wondering, I was going to say something like, if you are drinking something besides margaritas and land shark, does the Margaritaville sheriff show up and just knock that shit out of your hand?
Yeah. I wonder.
Issue you a citation for drinking incorrectly.
You have to blow above a limit to get on your golf cart.
That blood alcohol up, sir.
You're like, no, I just had to go pick up my wife from the bar. Get out.
You get loose, you son of a bitch.
Dude, I wonder if Margaritaville police, like, if they have, like, problems, like, if they had a Blue Lives Matter, like, for Margaritaville
The
police.
thin blue Margaritaville line.
Yeah, like, what would it be? Like,
What is the corruption in
like
Margaritaville
the salt
look like?
line, the thin salt line.
Best not be stepping over that.
Dude, and they shoot you for, like, blowing out your flip-flop.
Police those flip-flops on.
Because who are they going to do? They can't beat minorities and stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Because they're not allowed in the first place. There has to be corruption then.
God, what if they're
An
yeah,
abuse
they're
of
just
power.
like living in ennui. Just like, I have no purpose. I have no meaning.
Oh, they're just depressed.
They're just depressed.
They're just cops retire there to be Margaritaville cops.
And then there's one cop who takes it upon himself to just start doing crime for the sake. He sacrifices himself. He's like, I need to do something for my brothers. I need to give them something. It's like, I'm going to... You wake up and that surfboard's missing. Like,
What the fuck? There's a fucking
Like,
maniac
damn.
on the loose.
Someone's got to do something about this.
Bursts into like the Margaritaville restaurant and changes the channel from a Jimmy Buffett concert to like Springsteen or something. Just like, what?
Do you think they have their own news network?
Margaritaville news. Yeah, what would they talk about? The Villages. You have to watch that documentary. That it's like the big version of that, and they have their own newspaper that's like just right-wing garbage. It's like Fox News on complete steroids.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can just insulate yourself like that completely.
Like completely insulation. Margaritaville's
It's like I paid to have my problems and the problems of the entire world disappear.
completely. But Margaritaville news, because their version of like the Villages, where it's paying to have my problems disappear, yet there's still enough going on that there's differences. There's an Irish bar. There's a Thai restaurant. There's this stuff. Margaritaville's Margaritaville. Everything's Margaritaville. The newspaper's got to be kind of festive. It can't just be like, fuck Biden, let's go Brandon. Minorities are destroying everything. Antifa's coming to get you. Like,
no,
that's
you don't want to think about that.
Yeah, that's not fucking island time.
You don't want to go to sleep dreaming of Antifa breaking in and
to your cottage and stealing your surfboard. Can't even get it out.
No, you want to sleep peacefully, knowing that there's only the next day at the bar.
Yeah, like I wonder if it's like, I wonder if the conspiracies there are like they just find rum, like how, like no, how like
just a crate of rum appears.
Yeah, but like
they get just drop offs from airplanes.
Like, people who are against like climate change and environmentalism and stuff. Like a running theme there is like they'll find oil wells, which like oil wells are drying up, but like out in Texas, and they're like, they've found something out by the Permian Basin. There's more oil, and they're like, see, we're never gonna run out. It's all a bunch of liberal bullshit. What if there's just like, dude, they found more rum.
They found more.
It was like under the ground by like Steve's
the rum
house.
spring.
There's a rum spring.
Just a geyser, Old Faithful erupts on the dot every 5 o'clock. Every single one.
And then there's more, like they're finding, like everywhere's like Margaritaville. So they're like, dude, they're finding rum out in Montana. It's got to be red states. So like in Alabama, like no, in Georgia, like Herschel Walker found a rum spring. Oh, good for him. Or it's like every Republican politician, it's just pictures of their vacation like on the beach. They're like, see, they're living it up too.
Just like me and you.
We're all in this together. Okay, what else would a Margaritaville society have in it? Was there Margaritaville 9/11, or was it just real 9/11?
I think that's just something that you get to wipe from your brain.
Oh, that just doesn't exist in the sphere.
Yeah. I think
true.
that's part of it. There's just you get to have selective memory loss. Selective blackouts.
Yeah, it's called just blacking out.
Just turn that was it thalamus off or what?
Yeah, it's called drenching your brain in tequila.
Soak it. Yeah. Just blend the pain away.
I wonder, that documentary too, like when they would talk about, because it was lots of like that it was different in that Margaritaville, you're there for Margaritaville. It's like being at Disney. Like, you're moving to Disney for fucking magic and Mickey Mouse. I don't care about anything else. But when you're old and doing this and you're making friends, they're also dying around you, so you can't escape.
No one
death.
dies in Margaritaville.
Like, I wonder, like, the Margaritaville corner, they're actually, jokes aside, has to be
a Margaritaville coroner.
Right? Like, if something happens, because it's a big property. Like,
I
if something were to happen at the hotel bar.
I think that's just a county thing, but I bet he fucking is like, oh shit, someone died at Margaritaville again. Honey, pack your bags.
Yeah. There's a free space now. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm thinking of like cruise ships where there's like a corner on a cruise ship. The Margaritaville corner would be cool.
It must have, doctors, all the usual suspects.
Is there a Margaritaville graveyard?
I was just thinking about that, and I just can't imagine that there is. I think there's no dead bodies in Margaritaville.
I mean, they built it over Indian like land. There's bodies everywhere.
Poltergeist part.
Yeah. But that's not what we're talking. not the hauntings that happen in Margaritaville. The ghosts would like it though. It's a bunch of
Chilla's ghosts.
Native Americans drinking margaritas.
Shit.
I bet there's a graveyard at Disney though. like the Disney, like it's such a big place.
Well, it's like abandoned Disney.
Like
Have you seen those?
No.
I feel like there's some like abandoned section of Disney, or maybe it was just a different park you can sneak into, and it looks really cool. It's just like nature taking back the roller coasters, and like it is a small world after all.
There is after Katrina, Jazzland, which was a Six Flags, but it used to be Jazzland, never reopened, and still to this day it still exists. And a buddy of mine, a couple years after, so Katrina was 05, he was in there in like 08, 09, and he snuck in to take pictures of it, and ended up selling them. Like, it's incredible, but it's like exactly what you're saying, like vines and nature have overtaken everything.
Yeah,
you got chased around by a squatter. Like, but it's insane how cool it is.
Yeah, I just love seeing like nature kind of growing around things we've left behind.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of reassuring.
Yeah, in like a
It's
metaphysical way of just like nothing really matters. Like, if we get nuked off the face of the earth,
nature will figure something out at some point. And yeah, so we can leave all this shit here, disappear. The earth will do something.
Yeah, and all the tiling business, all the clients you made, all of the money that went into your place at Margaritaville, when you look up at the night sky and think about for one fleeting second how small you are, and think about nature overtaking the hotel, and you go back to your margarita and you look at your wife and say, honey, let's get blackout again.
I mean, that is kind of a beautiful thought. It also makes me think of that Talking Heads song, Nothing But Flowers.
Oh, yeah.
David Byrne's just going like, yeah, the apocalypse happened and nature is taking everything back over, and goddamn do I miss my lawnmower.
David Byrne's the best.
He is. Oh, man. Treasure.
We have to do a deep dive. We need to do 2. One on Talking Heads, but one just on Byrne.
Okay, yeah.
Well, no, we got to do it on his book, because you've read his book.
Yeah, How Music Works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which should be called How Music Works according to
According
David
to
Byrne, because it's not how music works.
But he has that other, I think he has 2 other books. There's something like Arboretum. I might be making that up. And I think he has one about all the bicycling he loves to do.
That man's a biker. I tell you the story, Dave, when he served him at Pesh in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And then he was like super sweet, amazing, tips really well. Dave looks and he gets a bike and just rides it against traffic down there. And you're just like, he's David Byrne.
Yeah, that man is in a world adjacent to ours.
He's like, apparently Jimmy Buffett's a cool guy too.
I don't really know anything about Jimmy Buffett, to be honest.
Have you? There's no reason why you would, but have you ever seen Jimmy Buffett live?
No.
I saw him live once when I first moved.
Really?
Yeah, it was a fluke. So I first moved down here. I didn't know anybody, and this might have been before I met Greg, other Greg.
Right. Yeah, we're
and,
not just talking about me in the third person.
And I met this dude, and I don't know where I met him. Must have been like at a bar or something in the neighborhood, where it was just like your friend. I need to hang out with somebody, and we would hang out every now and then. And then his buddy was a pedicab driver, and it's like a Saturday, bunch of events in town. Jimmy Buffett's at the Circuit of the Americas. He's making a bunch of cash, and he calls my buddy, and we're sitting somewhere, and he goes, "Hey, I just got tipped 2 tickets to Jimmy Buffett. Do you want to go?" And he's like,
that's also the only currency that exists in Margaritaville.
"Yeah, it's Jimmy Buffett tickets," and like glasses with the little cactus on them. And he's like, no, I'm hanging out with my buddy Corey or whatever. He's like, no, do you too want to go? I know, because he's going to meet us later. And he goes, I'm just making an insane amount of money right now because whatever event was happening. And so he's like, if you swing by and catch me on the route, y'all just go to Jimmy Buffett.
Nice.
Like, oh, fuck yeah. So we go, pick up the tickets. It's still kind of early. And we're like, we have nothing to do. Let's just drive out Circuit of the Americas so we can get a good parking spot. And maybe there's something going on. It's like, because you've heard the deadhead stories of hippie buses and selling t-shirts and selling drugs in the parking lot, but it's this big family, and you walk down Shakedown Street, and you know, you eat a grilled cheese and like smoke a joint and hang out in the bus. Imagine that, but the deadheads are all multimillionaires. It's like tour grade size buses that they have made their own beach in front of, with umbrellas and lawn chairs lining a road. So they follow them like the dead, but they aren't dirty hippies. They're retired rich people. And they follow Jimmy around in enormous, insane buses.
It's hard for me to imagine identifying with that lifestyle so hard that I would get a bus and like cultivate a beachfront property at every Jimmy Buffett show.
Like, and we roll in and we're just like, let's approach one. Everyone, like, we were drinking top shelf rum and listening to Jimmy Buffett before we go in, obviously. Sitting on a beach with these old people we became friends with, but they all know each other because they all tour together.
Yeah.
And so they're like, these are our new friends. And we're like, yeah. Like, it was awesome. And they gave us like they're not deadheads, they're parrot heads.
Right.
So they wear little parrots. And so we go in, belly full of rum, loving life, to be honest. Buffett starts playing. It's the most fun I've had at a concert.
No shit.
Everyone knows every song. It's like watching like Rocky Horror, where there's like
like the act outs and the like call and response.
Right. But the thing is, like, Jimmy Buffett's catalog isn't like the Grateful Dead. Like, the Grateful Dead is an enormous catalog. People follow them because they never play the same set twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're like, this night they're going to do this, and I hope they do this, and all this stuff. Jimmy Buffett plays the same shit all the time. So, like, not only...
You know what you're going to get.
You know what you're going to get, and you know the order, basically.
That's got to be reassuring, kind of, like, comforting.
I wonder if it goes back into Margaritaville, the lifestyle.
That sort of structure.
Yeah.
It's like... structured relaxation.
Structured relaxation on a structured concert on a structured night.
You truly never have to think about anything. You don't have to worry about being surprised.
No.
That's interesting too, because I've been reading, I think I might have mentioned it to you, I'm reading this book by Maslow called Towards the Psychology of Being. And it's like that's the guy, he's most famous for Maslow's hierarchy. Mm-hmm. It's like you gotta fulfill your most basic needs before you can move up and then fulfill, you know, more, I guess, what's the word? Basically, like, you gotta make sure you're fed, protected, you got a roof over your head, and then you can start worrying about, you know, you're like, do I have good relationships? Do I have self-esteem? Like, do I have the respect of people? And then
like, does the hierarchy go, like, is it deeper into your own psyche, or is it like taking steps back into like humanity and like the world? Like, make sure you're fed and stuff. But is like the highest point of that, like,
eventually
where do I
you get to the top, and then you self-actualize, and you're just kind of cool with how you are, and you know, you can work with the world. But
I think we're both there.
Yeah, we've made
we've
it.
Ascended. It's all good. Anyway, sorry.
He has a line in there where he's talking about how all neuroses essentially stem from this worry that the coping mechanisms that we've used in the past to deal with stress and problems that come up won't apply to the future, because the future is inherently like novel and unpredictable.
Right.
And we know that in the back of our minds, but we also know what worked for us in the past. And it's just that like tension between, well, okay, you know, whenever this issue has come up, this is how I've dealt with it, and that's worked. So I can do that again in the future, but there will always be new issues, new problems. And if you kind of erase that with the Margaritaville lifestyle where you know exactly what's going to happen at every moment, then that erases so much stress and worry and just like psychological issues you might have.
Well, I mean, to him, would that be seen as a good thing or as a limiting thing?
I think it's limiting. He would see it as limiting in the sense that you're not really growing. You're not inspired to growth.
Right.
There's no... which, on the one hand, if you have gotten to the point, you know, where you've really like...
Well, if you've ascended.
Like if you've ascended.
Then you don't need to grow anymore.
Then it is sort of irrelevant. But, I mean, there always should be growth. And I think that's part of self-actualization in his mind, where you never really stop growing. You just become okay with yourself, really.
It's just coming to terms with yourself, not like reaching
a
plan.
Yeah, like you don't really like need people in the sense that like there's something to offer to you. Like you're not just like hanging out and spending time with people because they fulfill your self-esteem needs. They make you feel good about yourself. You spend time with people because you genuinely appreciate like what they are, who they are, what they do, and you also want to help them grow.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if you don't need anything from them. It's not like this necessary thing to have these people around just to feel good. You can feel good on your own. You can handle whatever on your own.
Yeah, I mean, that's an insanely great way to live. Like,
if you can get there, yeah. But it's always like, and there's maintenance too. Like, you don't just get there and stop. Like,
no, you can. And you go to Margaritaville.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually what happens when you self-actualize. You just appear spontaneously in Margaritaville.
Yeah, you just like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's like because then, like, the top of that, too, well, the whole thing, I guess, is, like, a mind thing that it's, like, it's inherently impossible to ever reach the top of anything like that. But, I mean, it's just striving for your next plane of...
Yeah, I mean, and you never want to stall out, I guess. There's always something to learn. There's always some new skill. I mean, and it just makes you a more... like full useful person if you don't stop learning. It just also makes you more interesting.
Yeah, because you're not self-centered.
Yeah, just like a natural, like just a curiosity is... I feel like those people tend to be just more interesting to be around instead of people that like kind of, I don't know, this is verging on Margaritaville heresy.
We'll call it Disney, not Margaritaville.
Disney heresy, yeah. Because if you do stop and like this kind of lifestyle where you're just doing the same exact thing, like no wonder Tammy's gonna grab that surfboard off the wall and beat Fred to death with it.
Yeah.
Like, there's just nothing new happening. There's no novelty.
Well, and then that's like that's of course inherent change. But it's almost like it's taking change where it's like instead of having incremental growth changes, you need a very quick, abrupt, crazy change.
Yeah, it's like
that kind of feeds your soul in the same way, in an unhealthy way, when you're back on your third hit, when his arm stops reaching for you, and the little shark thing, it's like it's more jagged than you thought, so it's like hitting him in the cheek,
digging it out. Damn.
And you just think of, like, she thinks of her wedding day and just like, ugh. Anyway. Fred. Huh. That's a good thought experiment. Maybe that's like...
I feel like, yeah, I think you would lose your mind just in that same sort of being on a track, really. Like, we're not meant to be trains, I don't think.
Yeah,
you know,
a
like,
golf cart track.
yeah, just going around and around on the golf cart track, you start noticing the same little rock in the road every day, and that's all there is. And like you said, you start wondering, like, was it all?
I think it's set up in exactly what you're saying, because it's not set up in blocks or like a city. It's really curvy and weird. Like I had to walk like a 10-minute walk from like my little bungalow to like,
but it was like 200 yards away.
But all the roads were all squiggly. It took me a long time. I almost got lost. Like, I think it's set up purposely so it's harder for that to happen. Yeah. In a cynical, purposeful way. I don't know, cynical, but
I feel like that type of, what I'm imagining, like those sort of curves, that feels more whimsical also.
I mean, I really wonder if that goes into some of the plannings of these things. Like,
it could. It'd be, who was the city planner of Margaritaville?
There's got to be like one or two people, because there's a couple of them around, and I think the layout.
I mean, someone had to plan it.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, that'd be awesome to interview like someone like an city planner. Like, I guess not.
I am really curious now about, like,
because it's almost like a step below. Have you seen that thing where it's like it's a little, well, it's a old folks home for people with Alzheimer's
in Margaritaville?
No. That would be the ultimate plane of existence, because then you literally can't think of anything in the past. Maybe that's it. But it's in like Denmark or somewhere where the people care about each other. It's not in the U.S. It's somewhere where
sense of community.
Your taxes pay for cool things, but it's set up it's literally like a care facility, but they set it up to where like it's like a little town, and they have a little grocery store.
Was this in the New Yorker?
I think so.
I read an article about something that sounds exactly like this.
Yeah, I think it was like
years ago. Thing. But yeah, I remember. Yeah, they had this place set up like it was a little town, and then people. Yeah, because the article was all about the morality of like, do you remind people of their situation, or do you let them live in that, like, the fantasy that is just what their faculties allow them to perceive at that point? Like, what's the right thing to do? Like, should you be yanking them out of that? Do you really need to go in every day and be like, well, hey, Betty, your husband's still dead? Or do you just let her,
Yeah, just live the remaining years of her life.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'd argue you just leave him alone, but...
Well, I mean, there is some amount of, like, lying that has to be done.
Because people, they have actors. I forgot it. Was it actors or, like, was it nurses that would, like... If the grocery store is open 1 hour a day, they think it's whatever.
Right.
And, like, a nurse would be, like, the cashier.
Yeah.
Wasn't that it? Like, it was staff members. Like, they didn't have, like...
It wasn't... It's been a while, but I feel like there was something like that. Where, I mean, there was some element of the staff... It was like playing into the...
Yeah. It wasn't like the Truman Show where it was like...
No.
Actors.
Yeah.
But like in a weird way, that's like the ultimate Margaritaville, right?
That's super... Well, yeah, because there's
That's on the top of... What's the pyramid?
Maslow's hierarchy.
Maslow's Margaritaville. The top of Maslow's Margaritaville
God, this man's rolling in his grave.
Is the Alzheimer's facility in Sweden. I think we broke through here.
The next plane.
Because real life is the bottom of Maslow's Margaritaville. That's just living your life until you retire. And then you start climbing your plane of Maslow's Margaritaville.
Leaving reality behind.
Step by step. You're sending.
I mean, that's a lot of just what we do in our day-to-day. I mean, it's not like I wasn't getting drunk every waking hour of the day because I liked reality.
No, yeah, it's an escape.
Yeah.
The whole thing's an escape.
Escape.
I mean, it's Maslow's Margaritaville.
Oh yeah, you're just sort of minimizing the pain you can experience.
It's to tie this to Margaritaville. It's just dulling everything.
It does, yeah. It takes the edge off. Like there's no valleys, but there's also no peaks.
You're just here.
Yeah.
And here is usually a little bit lower than where you would be normally. But that's Margaritaville too? Because it's like you're always here. It's always a good time. It's always a thing. Like, oh, Ron DeSantis won. It's a little high, but we're still here. Like,
I feel like there's got to be some element of like, I mean, nothing consistently that you do over and over again, at least I feel like, really feels great. Like you're saying, it dulls things, but you don't, there's not much to feel then.
what do you mean? Like when you're in it, or like just in general?
Like when you're like in that, I guess, if you're just sort of doing that life, there's no drama, which is a good thing in a sense, but at the same time, I think there's like an element of conflict that humans thrive on, and that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Like, I'm not saying it's good to just be going out and like starting fights with people, not that kind of conflict. It can be just like an internal thing, just something that, like, again, it comes back to growth. Like, you see a problem, because there's always problems. Like, the world's not a perfect place, and like that's kind of why I feel like we should be critical of just about everything, because everything can be improved upon. There's no reason to just let the status quo be the status quo. But in Margaritaville, there's nothing to improve, and there's nothing you can really, like, there's no projects you can take on. You're just sort of stagnant, I guess. But I don't know. But at the same time, maybe if you've fulfilled your lifelong goals and your project, and you feel like you've gotten your legacy left behind, because this is another fucking psychological thing with
no, I see what you're saying though, because I wonder, because in the villages they have tons of activities and stuff, but the theme that runs around them is it's shit that you used to do when you're young. Like, it's like,
yeah, like a nostalgia. Just taking you back.
They showed, like, it was St. Patty's Day when they were filming the documentary, and they had a marching band, and you could tell all the dudes playing snare with their kilts, like, were out in high school. There's some of the wives that were, like, you could tell were cheerleaders, and they got to do it. Like, all of their stuff it wasn't like, we're in the make things better here right now club. Like, we're in the tree planting club at the villages. I mean, I'm sure that exists, but it wasn't as prominent as, like, I miss my life, but I get to do it again kind of things. Like, almost like a weird, I mean, because I'm with you in saying, like, I think it fills your heart and it fills your spirit a little more when you do things that help other people, and you're part of things that are greater than yourself.
Right.
Whereas, I'm not going to use this as a bad term, but it's inherently selfish things of, I miss my life and my things I was doing.
Yeah.
Which, it's another can of worms. If you've done all your things, you're fine with your legacy, you've had your kids, they grew up, they're fine. It's not bad to treat yourself, but it's not like...
No.
That headspace is selfish.
It is. Yeah. I mean, it's selfish in the sense that it is strictly for you and nobody else. And then I wonder, if, like, you've gotten to that point in your life, it really is just this comfort thing.
Well, and I think they rationalize it. The old people, we're going to be old someday. I'm sure we'll do it.
Yeah.
But the big overarching theme of that is, I deserve it. And it's more of a justification than a real feeling, I think. Because once you start feeling the tugging of the abyss on your haunches,
Yeah.
then you got to go, well, no, I deserve this right now.
And that's what I'm kind of saying. Like, if you just... I feel like reverting back to behaviors that you had when you were younger, or just even things that you're interested, like, even when I'm like, if I'm feeling, like kind of shitty or whatever, like at night, I'll just like watch old episodes of Pete and Pete. Like, this is a kid show.
Nostalgia hits.
Yeah.
That's why The Office is the best show on streaming. Like the number one on streaming thing. It's like, it's feel good. It's chicken soup for the...
Yeah, it's simple. It's inoffensive.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not going to challenge you because you don't really want that. And then I don't blame people for watching stuff like that.
No,
like,
you can't be challenged all the time.
No, like you gotta turn your brain off. You gotta give it a little massage now and then.
But yeah, and then going back to Margaritaville, drinking, a healthy way to do that is to drink every now and then when you go on vacation to Margaritaville, because that's like that's when you really do deserve it. I saved up my money. We got a week. Me and the wife.
Mm-hmm.
She's not gonna beat me with a surfboard. We're gonna get drunk every day, and we're gonna sit on a beach
time.
chair. And their hatred of each other, just fizzle out into the sun, along with their skin cells, and
dissipates.
Yeah. But then you move there. You move to the town that Pete and Pete lives in.
Right. And
you become Danny Tamborelli.
The dream.
Like, what are you talking about? Wait.
Yeah, and like it loses that glitter. I mean, it's got to, like, once you're living in Margaritaville, like spending a year on the island. I remember getting down there in the first couple weeks. I was like, this is cool. It's just a strange new place to be living.
Did it quickly just turn into mundane life?
Pretty much, yeah. Like, I was just doing the same sort of stuff I was doing at home. Like, I would wake up hungover and like start working, get my work done, and then just like start drinking. And it was just doing that in a more beautiful place.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, I mean, it's really easy to take it for granted. Just like, and I still remember sometimes I would go up on the roof of the building and just like look out over the water, and you can see like different parts of the island coming up, and it's beautiful, and the weather's kind of perfect all the time. I mean, it got hot. I sweated my ass off, but
yeah,
it's an island
in the
Caribbean.
It's not Corpus Christi. There's not oil everywhere.
No, it's. I mean, the land, like the landscape's beautiful, and then you just sort of like, once in a while you do snap out of it and appreciate it again, but a lot of the time you're just kind of existing in it, and it's not like it loses its allure, but it just becomes another place. It's like you retire down there, and I mean, same thing with Margaritaville, I guess, like it's not the same as being on vacation. Like, it's not, there's just a different energy, I guess, because it stops being like a special thing. It's just mundane, even though it shouldn't be, even though like you could have the exact same experience you would have on vacation, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Well, and then, but you're also, since you're there permanently, you're also having the same experience you would have had in Boston or anywhere else that's not there.
Yeah, just warmer.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. The older I get to, the more it's like, you can't travel and run away from your problems. They'll be there.
Yeah, wherever you go, there you are.
And it amplifies them in my experience, because you're like, well, I don't want to feel shitty here.
Yeah.
Like, I can feel shitty in my house.
Which, like, yeah, travel's great, but then thinking that just being in a different setting will fix whatever's wrong with you, that's never really the case. I mean, it might help certain things.
Yeah, if you take it at face value, and if you're not actively running, maybe. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
From the things in your head. Maybe that's just me. I run from the things in my head.
Unfortunately, you're stuck with it.
I gotta start transcending up the pyramid. Well, I gotta get
too,
transcend down to transcend up again, because I hit it.
Right.
And
now
so
it flips. And
it's like replaying a video game.
Yeah. Just the hourglass going back around.
Well, Greg, I think that wraps up our discussion of Roadhouse 2.
Well, I feel like we really got through some good Roadhouse talk.
That was some great Roadhouse talk about the
Oh God. I think I gotta be honest with you. I think it's gonna bother part of me that we didn't
finish it. At this point, I just don't want to for the sake of not doing it.
Oh God. I wish, damn.
Or let's do it like 10 episodes down the line. Just out of nowhere, Roadhouse 2 pops
Roadhouse
up.
2, fuck. It just still feels stuck in there. I need to.
Have you still been
Roadhouse to
thinking about it?
completion. Not as much.
Yeah.
It's still in there though. Yeah, I think it's just a weird me thing.
It's just the sways.
It's just the sways.
You can't escape the sways.
Stupid, sexy Swayze.
All right, we will do Roadhouse 2. We promise. Maybe next. I don't know. We'll see how we feel.
Just talk more about John Doe.
We got to do it to
We
get John Doe
also-
out there. We never
God.
got to John Doe.
We talked about Roadhouse and we didn't even get to Sam Elliott. We didn't get to the throat ripping.
We didn't get,
We didn't get to the
the monster truck.
the monster truck, the fucking against the rock wall.
Jeez, the exploding gas station. Okay, y'all need to stand by. We're gonna do Roadhouse Part 2 next week. This is an intermission of Margaritaville, but we'll see you next week for Roadhouse. I'll relent. All right. To our 5 subscribers, stay amazing.